Yo, what's up, y'all? I wanna show you a Marvel comic. Not this. No, this is right here. What you're looking at? That's a modern day Marvel comic. That's a former Marvel comic that you're looking at right there. That's a cesspool. I think it's the dam in Ann Arbor. They need all that electricity for the air conditioning units. So we got the level of the Huron River out here in Frog Island. It's a little bit lower than normal. It's all right. The throne down at the river that I took that other video at last year, some 12-year-old girl demolished that because her parents thought that the throne was ruining the environment. It's in the middle of the river. I don't know. A friend of mine built it. This is what I want to show you. This is from the Della House. Holla. This is what I'm talking about right here. I got this from the Della back issue bin. It's X-Men ALTERNA #1 in a 2-part limited series. For all you newbies, back when they had the newsstand or the turn style rack thingy, you can only see the tops of the comics when they were stacked. And to gain the attention, to gain the eye of the consumer, they had these little brand identity dealios in the upper left corner. Storm, Shadowcat at the time, I believe. This book is from 1985. We got Nightcrawler, Sasquatch from the ALPHAFlight. Hudson, Homegirl, James McDonald Hudson's wife. Damn, Heather Hudson, I believe. Shit, I probably got it wrong. Aurora, crazy twin. Schizo. It happens, right? Get locked in a closet at a Catholic school. She develops dual personality. One's supposed to be very sheltered and reverts to this French-speaking Catholic school, I think from like Quebec, and then the other one is this minx. She's like a minx. She's fucking fine and totally opposite, right? Because there she is, right? She's hooking up with Walter Langowski. So there's Mr. Dr. Tu Youngsman, the shaman. These guys are all ALPHAFlight, right? They're all Canadian. That cat right there, Langowski, Walter Langowski, he turns into Sasquatch. He can do it at will. He's got some issues that's being expressed in this issue. Dr. Tu Young's been there. He's got this bag, right? It's a magic bag. He can pull things out of it. He can also heal. Yeah, pull tricks. It's not solely dependent on the bag, but if you look in it, you could lose your mind. His daughter, right? His daughter is actually Talisman. She becomes like the next shaman, pretty much. In ALPHAFlight #19, she becomes like the new shaman, it says on the cover. That's from 1989. Yeah. Excuse me. Shit. That's ALPHAFlight #19, and that came out in February of '85, and that was the first appearance of Talisman. It was the new shaman, it said on the cover, but her first appearance actually, I can just show you her in a minute. There she is. She's magic based, right? And another person, we got Shaman, that's magic based out of ALPHAFlight. There she is right there on the back cover. Shaman's magic based. Sasquatch is kind of like an experiment based off of like the Hulk pretty much. Puck, magic based, like got his abilities out of Tibet. He has this Razor, R-A-Z-A-A-R, something like that. Razor, sounds like razor. R-A-A-Z-E-R, actually. It's this demon that's in his body that keeps him at that size, basically. Their first appearance of ALTERNA, right? The only mutants that I can think of offhand is North Star and Aurora, his sister, his twin sister. Super fast, right? Flight. If they touch hands together, this bright light is emitted. And I think they lose their flight abilities for a moment after they do that. But anyway, yeah. And then you got, you know, James McDonald Hudson and his wife Heather Hudson, right? She later becomes Vindicator, but yeah, it was James McDonald Hudson that started Wolverine off, getting that weapon, what was it? The ALPHA-FLIGHT program that he was starting with the Weapon X, and James McDonald Hudson was involved. This is back in 1985, so you have to think about the fact that Wolverine, people didn't know much about Wolverine. There was a mystique behind Wolverine. He was just becoming huge, and he was no longer becoming just a secondary character. But the mystery behind Wolverine was, it's one of the brilliant writing techniques, I guess you could say, of Chris Claremont. He wrote X-Men for 17 years, and he wrote this issue. Paul Smith, who did the X-Men from issues 165 to 175, did the art on this. And basically, Wolverine, he just, you always knew little bits about him. It was just this mystery. And then somebody might say something offhanded, and then everybody would start talking at the comic book shop. Yo, did you hear about Wolverine was talking about how he knew Carol Danvers back in the day, or he made some reference to how he was like a slave at one point, or he was a prisoner? What the hell was up with that? So there's stuff like that that they allude to in this issue as well. And the point of me showing off, you know, the X-Men and ALPHA-FLIGHT issue is that I found this in the dollar bin. While I was reading it, I was like, man, I just got to do a quick little expose on this thing, because there's a lot of historical significance in just this one issue. And another cool thing about it is, yeah, it is a gift. This is a 48-page comic book with no advertisements. And it's written by Chris Claremont with amazing Paul Smith art. So does it get any more anti-American than that, y'all? I mean, shit. This is Paul Smith, Bob, W-I-A-C-E-K, right? Artist. He did the inks, Ball Whitesec, I believe. And yes, Tom Orzechowski is the letterer. Glynis Oliver, colorist. Jim Shooter was the editor-in-chief at the time, and you got Ann Nocenti and Denny O'Neil as the editors. So anyway, we got Cyclops, Scott Summers, his wife, Madeline Pride, later becomes the Goblin Queen, right? They're ferrying a bunch of scientists up to the Arctic through Canada. And you basically have these people that are locked inside of a ship. You know, that sense of survival, that sense of, you know, fight or flight kicks in, and they have these different theories. Each couple has this idea of survival. This guy's talking about self-preservation, being in a plane, and he goes on about how he draws and imagination, plus his engineering and his architecture skills. He believes he's talking about how great things would be, though. He downplays his own skills, essentially, as Summer compliments him. And he actually downplays his own skills in making these beautiful structures, and then talks about how he values how he wishes magic would be dominant instead of science. And this guy, he's a botanist. His wife, she's asleep. She's totally cool with the situation. And this guy, he's anti-mutant. He's a racist, and this guy's kind of agreeing with him how they should get them before they get us, type of deal. This gentleman here, he's like the cargo ship guy. He's well-read. Interesting dialogue here that he talks with Scott Summers. At the end, he references Ulysses by James Joyce. But yo, God, there's just like a part of this I want to read. He says, "You ever read an Ursula K. Le Guin novel, The Lathe of Heaven? It's about a fella whose dreams alter reality. Other guy uses him and the dreams to try to abolish all the world's lies. Trouble is, the more good he does, the worse off everything gets. He's saying wishing's fine, but some things, he says, the really important ones have to be earned. So essentially, this book right here that he's reading is Ulysses. These guys all well read. Everybody's having a sense of actualizations. I don't want to get too much into it, but they hit a light, shit goes down, they kind of disappear. We got like a reference of New Mutants. You got the movie coming out with them. They introduced them. I really don't want to get too much into the story with the book. The main thing that I wanted to point out was some of the cultural historical significances. Just like these moments that I'm reading this, and I'm like, damn, I just got to point this out in this vid. Gotta agree with Paul Acosta on that. Paul Smith, he does great art, but yeah, he does do long legs because Wolvie is totally short up on this. We got Rachel Summers here. I'm not sure what issue she appeared in the X-Men. I think John Romita was doing the art at the time. I want to say maybe like 189, but I'm not sure. She's from like the future, right? And she's supposed to be the future son of Madeline Pryor and Scott Summers, right? I think from that Days of Future Past type of future. She's been trained to hunt down mutants. She takes over the danger room because some stuff goes down with her dad, Scott Summers. And that's one of the significances that I was going to point out with this book, because this is actually, in this book, where is the scene? So she goes off to Canada because she finds out that the plane got crashed. They don't really know why. She thinks the ALTERNA did it. She kind of freaks out for a minute. But basically, where is it? So she meets her parents right here. She's meeting her parents for the first time. So she never met Madeline Pryor and Scott Summers before. And here she is in this meeting, freaking out. And like Shadowcat, right? Homegirl, she's all like, poor Rachel. And she not only meets them for the first time, but also in this, you find out that Madeline Pryor is pregnant. And they not only find out that she is pregnant, but you find out that she is pregnant with a son, right? And Rachel Summers freaks out when she finds that out, and she takes off. And it's later in the book, which I am trying to find. Yeah, she just freaks out right here. And Shaman actually asks Talisman, she's also, her background as an archaeologist, to go follow her, just to also kind of get the lay of the land to this building. So this light, right, that everybody ends up walking into, it's inside this building, right? And it's all magic based, and it basically will, it changed everybody. It made everybody like super tall and like super fine, made everybody as hot as possible, and they gave them all like these abilities. And Madeline Pryor can, she can heal people. And Scott Summers, all of a sudden, he can use his optic glass at will. He doesn't need to wear the visor. But there was that one historical significance with Rachel Summers tripping out on how she finds out that her parents are having a boy, right? Not instead of a girl. Moving forward, I just wanted to mention out, too, this says elsewhere, right? This is wherever the hell this is at. It says, in a place that is as much apart from the worlds of gods and mortals as it is a part of them, right? Essentially, what we're looking at here is we who sit above in shadow. And I didn't know what the hell any of this stuff was about. And Loki is basically trying to make a deal with them. And he's trying to get in favor with them. But they're like, do something for mankind. They gotta know what's up. And so Loki creates this fountain that came out of nowhere, and that's what hit the ship, the plane that Summers and Madeline Pryor were in. And it makes these people have these abilities. Like one woman, she can feed all of mankind. One guy can make buildings. Another person can control animals. And they were talking about using it all to help mankind, right? For some reason, right? Of course. And so these guys, we who sit above in shadow, did I get this right? Marvel Spotlight number 8 from 1980. That's their first appearance. And they are Asgardian origin, and they consider themselves beyond Asgardian understanding. All right. We who sit above in shadow, right? They're called, sometimes called those who sit above in shadow. So apparently the deal has to do with them. They feed off of the death of the Asgardians, essentially. They want Ragnarok to happen. And Odin, apparently there's something that's going on where Odin is trying to seek to break the cycle of Ragnarok. And that was why he sent Thor to Midgard. To kind of throw things off, to have Thor kind of learn humility, to make things less predictable with how those who sit above in shadow are trying to manipulate situations to recreate Ragnarok, essentially. Now Loki is trying to make some type of deal with these guys, and they're saying do a good deed for mankind. And so he creates this fire fountain that gives these humans powers, or allowed Scott Summers to control his optic blast deal. So there's a price to this fountain, by the way, and I'll just give it away. It's imagination and creativity. Now this is Narya. She's Snowbird. She's also magic based, and she can be in touch with Canada, with the history of Canada, the geological history. She can turn to any animal that's native to the tundra, to Canada, to that area. I think she was kind of like an undercover. She kind of posed as a human, I think, for a minute with the Canadian Intelligence or Air Force. Don't quote me on that one, but just trying to give a rundown. So yeah, X-Men number 120. That's the 1979, around April. That was the first appearance of ALTERNA. I'm not sure if that was cover date April or if that was actually when it came out. So excuse me on that. But this is such a gift. 48 pages, no ads. This is another historical significance. Just wanted to point out, we who sit above in shadow, because you got all that stuff that's going on with Don and Cates and Silver Surfer and Galactus and all this shit that's going on about cosmos and origin of cosmic just entities. They're going way deep now with the Marvel universe. Though I'm not impressed with current Marvel. I gotta say that some of the cool stuff that they've done is that mythology that they've been getting into in that cosmic scale. Moving forward, y'all. As you can see, Paul Smith has great art. So this other point is here we have Heather Hudson, right? And she's chilling, hanging out with Logan. And if y'all want to see a great meeting with Wolverine and ALPHAFlight, check out ALPHAFlight issue number 13. And that was in, I think that was cover date May of '84, so that was before this issue. And that was right after the 12th issue, when her husband, as Vindicator, Guardian, the names change. He died. She's got some hang-ups because she thinks that she was distracting him when he was trying to work out some kinks in his suit and his armor. He has this armor that can ride the magnetic field of Earth and be powered by it and so forth. It's white and red, like a Canadian flag. So check out if you can get a copy of X-Men 120 online, check it out, or get a reprint, something like that. So this is a historical significance because she's talking about how James Hudson, who found Wolverine, he kind of knew what was up with Wolverine. He knew he was in the woods when he found him, when he was going on a so-called hunting trip in the wintertime. He was really looking for Wolverine. He knew that his wife, Heather Hudson, would have been there when Wolverine came to, when he found him savage, in the woods. He knew that when Wolverine came to and he saw his wife, that his wife would kind of tame him down. Wolverine's got a thing for women with red hair since that first crush he had in that comic Origin. I think Straczynski did Origin, but shit, going way off on too much of a tangent. But check out that limited series Origin. Came out around the year 2000, 2001. But yeah, he's got a thing for women with red hair. Anyway, another cool thing about this that I wanted to point out is, Logan's smoking a cigarette. Joe Quesada around the year 2000 banned smoking in the Marvel comics, which I'm totally down for. But I just wanted to point that out. He was mentioning to her too in these frames. I think something about like he was telling her to trust Puck's instinct. And he called it. Yeah, I don't know. She was just giving him shit because he was calling Puck a midget, and she was like, "Watch the mouth, bub. You ain't that flaming tall." Anyway, great Paul Auster art. And so the other historical significance I wanted to point out too, with history, is if you look at Comic Power, that news channel, Comic Killer 72 is the host. He was pointing out how the X-Men, he did this during Gay Pride Month, how are similar to homosexuals and then the fight that they have. And I think that they're more like with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, but sure, it can fit everybody. It can fit anybody, any type of minority that's getting kept down and having people hating on them. So to support that, Rogue, she ended up in this issue, you know, her first encounter with North Star is, you know, of course she's gonna give him some tongue. He passes out, she absorbs all his memories, and she's talking with him, she's kind of calling him out on it, how she's like, yeah, you're a mutant. He's like, why are you in the closet about that? And he's telling her how it's just, he's like, I'm a mutant. Without my superpowers, I'm nothing. I have nothing. I don't know, it's just kind of a quick little deep conversation there. What is she saying? She says, you got no call for such anger, North Star. You got talent, skills, you're a champion. And then he says, I'm a mutant. Without my super speed, I have nothing. I have nothing. Sorry about that angle, yo. I just sort of like check out some of that graffiti while you're at it. Yo, so I just thought that was interesting, you know, because this was in 1985, so this was years before he came out. And that had to have been intentional, I'm thinking. And so, Madeline Pryor, right, because her ability that she gets from walking into this fountain is that she can heal. So she does it to Rogue, and she tests it right there. And she's all, nothing's happening. Look at the expression on North Star's face. Yeah, poor Rachel. She doesn't want to tell them that she's their daughter from the future. And this guy, he can talk about any type of book that's ever been written. And, you know, this is the fire fountain. And Heather Hudson walks in. And that's not even, I mean, the entire comic. There's so much more goodness in this book. The Gift. Chris Claremont, Paul Smith, 1985. Just trying to think, is there anything else that any other knowledge I can spew out at y'all, just to make sure I'm thorough. Yeah, Puck gets healed, so to speak. So the point of this is just to kind of give the 411. A lot of people are building up hype on X-Men 120, and if you can't afford the first appearance of ALTERNA from 1979, check out your local comic book shops for their dollar bins. I don't know how that's working these days with the pandemic, but gloves, mask, hand sanitizer, do whatever. Recommended Legend of Log. That's $1. is $1 fucking right there. Saharsky is the writer, and you got multiple artists, and it's just some camp. It's just this log with axe, you big snake. It's a black and white comic, different types of artists. They got a rundown on the who's here, and this is a Ryan Wynn drawing. This creature right here is from The Void, which I totally recommend, from ALTERNA Comics. Kind of like a Spawn. This like hitman from the mob comes back from hell and makes a deal with the demon, so to speak. Check it out. Gonza Gears is also by Ryan Wynn. An adventure comic. I love this artwork right here. This is so dope. This first story, created and written by Saharsky, art by Bob Berry. So, and there's different artists doing this, like prehistoric, kind of mythology, semi-Thundar the Barbarian, kind of get different types of artists, like I said, with their take on Legends of Log. And as I've recommended before in a lot of my comments, I just want to recommend this other ALTERNA Comics. I don't have Voidwalker Army, but I'll give that away. Blood Realm. This is their 3 separate 3-issue limited series, and I believe this is the final 3rd set. Yeah, Volume 3, 2020. And it is black, white, and red. And I cannot show you this comic because it's so fucking good that to show you much from the 3rd volume would be ruining a lot of the goodness of Blood Realm. Mr. Robert Geronimo, he's on the ALTERNA Comics YouTube channel a lot with Pete Smetti, the guy that is the founder of ALTERNA Comics. And just some great creators that I think the artwork of Blood Realm, y'all should. Let me just show you one. Right there. Yeah, this is not what you think it is, and it's better. Alright, so there's ALTERNA Comics brand that is new that you can go and buy stuff online. And real quick, to wrap this video up, Paul Pope, I mentioned this when I was in Detroit at the video that I made, and I thought it was new. This is actually a reprint of a bunch of stuff that Paul Pope did, and I just gotta recommend this shit because it's just a collection of his stuff that he printed from Columbus throughout the 90s. And the intro here, when he was in Columbus, and then Toronto, Tokyo, New York City. So this era, right, the beginning of Paul Pope, where he did THB, and eventually, right here, Bob Schreck from Dark Horse Presents said, offered the artist his first paying gig. Schreck recalls discovering Pope's work at the 1993 San Diego Comic-Con. He says, I read the ballad of Dr. Richardson and then immediately called Paul on the way back from the con. The result was the one-trick ripoff. When it hit stores in 1995, the cumulative effect of the stylish new strip, alongside the inventive material in THB, made Pope a household name amongst comic book cognoscenti. So the one-trick ripoff, it's just got a lot of these. Here we go. Pope says he approached ripoff as an opportunity to make an early rendezvous into crime fiction's gym, heavily influenced by noir titles Raymond Chandler and Dashiell Hammett, and affected by the phenomena of pulp fiction. Paul Pope set out to create a morality drama that fully inhabited the crime genre. And that's what you're gonna get. It's so good. The art here is dramatic, it's captivating, and I recommend people to check out Paul Pope. Check out some of his art online, and hopefully we can pass the word, you know, because there's indie artists that have been around for decades, that a lot of people out there that are just looking for something new, that are getting sick of Marvel and DC, that still respect Marvel and DC, just want to kind of broaden their horizons. This is one of the artists that I would recommend. Like I was saying, Kind of like a Quentin Tarantino vibe. A lot of people that I've shown this to have said the same thing. And there's this main one-trick rip-off story goes down, but then there's a bunch of other short stories and some interpretations of poems as well that are pretty dope. And this last story, Paul Pope did a graphic novel called 100%. It's like New York City in the future. And this guy is working at a club in New York City. And he gets into some trouble, of course, right? But I just want to show you the club right here. And the name of this last story that is related to that 100% comic book that Paul Pope did later is called Night Job. Yeah. Trying to give you guys the best angle, but I just like that Gonzo video taken. Just been having the sun hitting the back of my neck, my fair ass skin. Just gonna take a break now. Thanks for watching this video, y'all. I'll be that Sequential Geek. Welcome to the Sequential Hood. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Peace.